You're not going to solve all the issues in one day. You're not going to make the right choices. You are going to be scared about the tough issues, and you still have to make the decision. Without the whole team pulling together and without a really powerful team dynamic, it's really difficult to create that culture of excellence in our business.
Thanks for joining us on the Better Business, Better Life podcast. I'm your host, Debra Chantry-Taylor, and I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs lead their ideal lives by creating better businesses. Because as I like to say, life is too bloody short. I'm a certified EOS Implementer, an FBA-accredited family business advisor, and a business owner myself with several business interests. I work with established business owners and their leadership teams to help them live their ideal entrepreneurial life using EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. I use this podcast to share practical tips and tools about how to use EOS in your business and your life to get more of what you want. Today's guest is from Detroit, but now lives in Japan. He speaks both Japanese and French fluently, and of course American. He loves to cook, and he is currently mastering the art of croissant making, and he's a Dungeons and Dragons master. Today, he's going to share with us how you can use EOS tools to connect to your personal energy to give yourself back more time and control of your business. Karl Pisor is a certified EOS implementer and joins us from his EOS session room in Tokyo. So welcome to the show, Karl. It's great to finally get you on here.
Hi, Deborah. Great to have you bring me on in here for your show. Hope we can put on some fun content for your guest today.
I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So, Karl, we've just been having a bit of a chat before we came onto the podcast, and you and I have known each other now must be going on for 5 years. But the listeners don't know who you are. So why don't you start by telling us a bit about who you are and how you got to be in EOS?
Yeah, well, I'm an EOS implementer just like yourself, and I've been working with EOS for over 6 years now. It's my 7th year as a professional EOS implementer. And I have the crazy, unlikely, weird distinction of being the first EOS implementer in Japan. So for me, the journey has been a journey of an entrepreneur learning about what it took to create a strong business, and then eventually moving through a number of experiences to being an EOS implementer. And if I was to boil my story down really to the basic pieces, it kind of started with my opening up a graphic design shop in Tokyo in 1998. So I was 27 years old. I knew nothing about running a business. And this is really my first shot at doing something. I've always been fascinated by graphic design and the Japanese language. So for me, this was kind of bringing together a few things I really loved. And I had an opportunity to work with a lot of great clients. If you remember back in those days, 1998, the Wayback Machine might be necessary for this. This was the beginning of the web, and everybody was building homepages and, oh, we want to be global, and what's your website look like, and all these things. And we had tons of great work, new technology, how to make a website, really run and be accessible. And we had lots of great work for about 2 years, because you know how the story ends. In April 2000, the web bubble popped, of course, and I basically lost my business overnight. All my client work dried up, and this is me 2 years in. I knew nothing about how to manage a business, or certainly how to manage adversity in a business. I was stuck and unable to dig myself out. And that was the end of my first turn being an entrepreneur. I can laugh about it now. Okay, I've got some distance in the story here, but I was not very happy about it at the time. And I knew that I needed to learn more. And so I decided to take a break in Japan. I went back to the US, got my MBA, came back to Japan. I worked in IT consulting for a few years. And then in 2007, I started my own general management consulting company. And so I was focused on projects, basically small to medium businesses that needed to get things done and didn't know how to do it. I would be the answer guy. I would connect with them and help them work out, you need a new sales team, you need an order management system, you need to figure out your HR. All of it was exciting to me. And I loved doing all sorts of really cool things. And I did that for about 10 years, maybe 11 years as a management consultant for small businesses. And I started to feel something was a little weird. I was working with my clients and helping them build great things. And I would come back to clients I'd worked with a few years before and just to reconnect and see how things are going. And I was noticing that their businesses were sliding backwards, that the work that we'd done with them was coming undone. And it was crazy to me because these are people that I had good relationships with. We'd built great work with, and it was not great anymore. And I, racked my brains what was going on here. It really took me coming across EOS before I finally figured out what was happening. And that was, to me, just a big awakening moment. Without a great leadership team, without a business operating system, it's impossible to succeed long term. And I didn't understand that. I didn't get the picture. I figured, if you don't understand something, call a consultant, right? I can help you. But no, that's not what it takes. And EOS really opened my eyes to what my clients really needed. And so I made the switch.
I'm interested. How did you come across EOS? Like, was it a book? Was it somebody speaking with you? How did you actually come across it?
Yeah, it's funny. My brother is what we would call a classical visionary person. He's got ADD. He doesn't read books. He's interested in whatever the latest and hottest thing is going on right now. And I never really thought that he would take me aside and say, hey, Karl, here is a really great structure that works in our company. And it's called the Level 10 meeting. Let me tell you about it. And he basically was teaching me the structure and the process that he was getting results with. He said, it's called EOS. You got to check it. I said, what have you done with my brother and where is he?
Take me to your leader. Yeah.
Wow. Who are you?
What was his business? What was he actually doing in business at that point?
So he was running a software consulting company, basically building custom solutions for his clients. And he was really not getting the results that he wanted before he implemented EOS. And now everything started making sense. His team started making sense. He had many fewer mistakes and rework patches. His projects started getting profitable. And that for him was the missing piece. That was what helped really propel his business into profitability. So he was excited about EOS. He wanted to make sure I knew about it.
Excellent. So he introduced you to it, and obviously you are a big reader, and I'm assuming you read the book, consumed it. Tell me a little bit about what happened from there.
Yeah. Well, that was, I guess when you're looking for something, and for me in my consulting business, I was getting this bad feeling that what I was doing wasn't producing the results I wanted for my clients. And I think if you're looking for something and you keep picking up rocks and looking underneath them, no, not that one. No, not that one. When you find one that actually works, it's so exciting. I mean, I was thrilled with EOS. I actually reached out to the EOS community. I talked to a number of implementers, asked them how they worked and, how their business, how they developed their business. And then I just got to work in Tokyo. I just started talking to the people that I was working with. I started talking to business owners that I was meeting. And people were like, wow, a business operating system? What's that? They'd never heard of anything like EOS. And so, so there's the novelty piece of it. But then eventually I started to find folks who were looking for results and they weren't getting the results they wanted from other approaches. They were willing to try EOS. I got my first paying client in November 2018. And so this was really for me validation, if you will, that it wasn't just a good idea. It was a good idea that people were willing to pay for.
But I'm assuming that at this point, there was nobody else in Japan doing EOS, right?
Well, there's that too. There was not really anything in Japan for EOS. It was all in English, of course. And there was a lot of work I needed to go through to get that ready to work in Japanese. So I translated all the core tools. I had the basic videos of things to work on from the EOS base camp material, but I needed to build it all out in Japanese. And so that was a lot of trial and error, really trying to get things to work and, falling on my face multiple times in session rooms with paying clients was those poor people. They they paid for that high quality delivery and it wasn't there at first. I really apologize.
But I know you, and I know how passionate you were about it, and you did. You took it and you really pushed hard to get it translated into Japanese to make sure it was relevant for the target market. What was it about it that really hit you as being different to anything else you'd ever seen?
Well, I think for me, the coaching aspect of EOS was really brand new for me. And I didn't really understand its importance. I thought, hey, if you've got a framework, you just apply the framework. And of course, I mean, I'm a business consultant by heart. So I'm used to, I just need a framework, right? I'll just go find a framework that's going to work for my situation here. And what EOS really digs into, I think this is really important, is the team interaction at the leadership team level. So it's not enough to have the right idea or even the right plan or even the one or two people who have real experience and the right plan. So you kind of think that would be enough. But what we find, and I think you might agree with me as an EOS implementer, is that without the whole team pulling together and without a really powerful team dynamic, it's really difficult to create that culture of excellence in a business. And that for me, I'd seen it. I'd experienced the culture of excellence. I'd been around teams and I've worked with teams that had that great level, that high level of performance. But to make it, to be intentional about it, to help teams to achieve that was very different for me. And I, to be perfectly honest, I probably didn't understand that at first when I started to do EOS.
And so you've been doing it now for 7 years, right? Is that right? Yeah.
7th year this year.
And can you give us some examples of teams that you've worked with and the real impact and the change that you've seen through taking them through the EOS system?
Yeah, well, there's many examples.
I've no doubts. Yeah.
But what I think there's a couple of requirements to performance with EOS. I think, first of all, the team has to be ready and willing to implement EOS. So maybe you might call it being coachable.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into EOS with this concept of ready to learn, being open and honest about where you may fall short as a leader, and looking for that new thing, that guidance that's going to help you really take your business to the next level. And we as coaches, EOS implementers, do not want to be the forever piece. We don't want to be the next member of your team. What we're trying to do is help you develop that team so that you can fly without us. The creation of independence in a leadership team is really what I focus on. I think a lot of our EOS implementer community is really committed to that. But as a client, you kind of have to be hungry for that piece. You have to want that coach to be part of your life. And so the companies that I've worked with that have been really successful say, all right, teach us. And we're going to use the lessons that we're getting from you to build out that EOS piece at first, because there's always a mechanical understanding of how the system works at first. I mean, depending on my clients, it's like 6 to 9 months of really getting that rhythm established in their business. But then from there, using that to take the next step to really creating a really great leadership team. Sometimes people need to leave. Sometimes people need to have different seats in the business. Sometimes new people need to come in. And going through that process, which is hard. It's really hard. These are people that we've worked with for years sometimes. Yes, George, it's been really great working with you. Yes, Mary, it's been really great working with you, but it's time to move on. And we need to have somebody who's a real leader in marketing or production or back office. And you're not it. I mean, that's really tough for any business leader to do. And I'm here as a coach to say, it's okay. It's okay for it to be tough. It's okay. you're not going to solve all the issues in one day. You're not going to make the right choices. You are going to be scared about the tough issues. And you still have to make the decision. So it's, I have a lot of compassion for the teams I work with, because it's just not, it's not easy. It's not easy, this leadership thing. We want our teams to succeed. We want our teams to succeed fast, but there is a certain pace and there is a certain set of stages that people need to go through psychologically, mentally, emotionally, as they get better. And, that process in our case, I think, as this takes average a couple of years really to get to that next level.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I mean, you can see results immediately in the first few months, but it really does take some time. So I think to get people to be truly vulnerable and to be truly prepared to allow the whole team to step up and kind of support them in making those decisions as well. Because I think often as the entrepreneur and the visionary, you're used to just taking the reins and telling people what to do and really running it all. And then all of a sudden it's like, actually, what got you to there may not get you to the next level up. And so what do you need to do differently?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so huge. We see this quite a bit, and this is something that I go through in Japan. By the way, the Japanese clients I work with are entrepreneurs, just like everybody else. They're smart people who work really hard to get where they are. And, giving up that idea of they always have the answer. They're always the person who's going to make the call in every case. Well, your business is going to outgrow you, and to understand how to be a leader as your business gets bigger than you can control. That's a very mature and difficult step, I think, for every leader to make. And we as EOS implementers are there to sort of midwife that, make it a bit easier, help it become born, help it to stand on its own, right? Again, it's none of it's easy.
Yeah. And so, how does a leader know that they're ready? What would you say are the sort of signals or the indicators that actually they're ready to take the next step?
Well, obviously the journey is very personal, okay? And all of my clients have their own circumstances and challenges that they work through. But I would say that it really comes down to maybe hitting the wall for yourself individually, understanding that your decision-making and your taking the reins of every single situation is actually holding you back. And to be aware of that, what is going to tell you that that's happening? Unless you have enough self-awareness to see how your behavior is impacting the people around you. I've been young and stupid, and I'm old and stupid. So, a few things have changed in my life. But when you're young and you know what the answer is, you're not willing to have other people help you. And that, I think, is what I would call not being coachable. Not really understanding that other experiences and other perspectives and other viewpoints make you richer. And in a leadership team, I really think you need to look around the table and see people who are better than you, the business owner, in each of these aspects of your business. So better than you at marketing, better than you at sales, better than you at production, better than you at back office and admin. And wow, why would I be working with people who are better than me at all of these things, right? Well, that's what a mature, business leader is going to do, because the business leader becomes the owner of the vision, right? They say, where are we going with this? And why is it important? And why are we connected together? And what is this endeavor that really inspires us? And that becomes the focus of their energy. How the marketing gets done? Come on. Let's let Jody, who's a great marketing person, just run with the marketing, right? She'll let us know when she needs our help, and being able to let go of that and embracing the fact that other people can be leaders. Wow. Now you've set the stage for greatness. Now you can go to the next level. That's what I would say.
And I think you're right. It's a certain level of maturity to kind of realize that actually you're better off having better people around you that are better at all these things than you. But it's tough. When we're young and stupid, we think we're invincible. We think we know everything. And then we learn as we go through it. Okay, so we've already talked about, it's interesting, you mentioned the level 10 meeting, and it's really funny. I actually came across the level 10 meeting close to 10 years ago, way before I ever came across EOS. And at the time, it didn't get connected to EOS for me. All I was told was it was this really great meeting structure that I should know about. And I remember looking at it thinking, yeah, this is pretty cool, but didn't see it in the context of the whole operating system. And then I came across the whole operating system about 5 years ago and kind of went, wow, now this makes perfect sense. But in terms of tools, there are a range of what we call foundational tools, the really key tools that kind of make a difference, and a whole range of other tools that we use as well. Do you have a favorite tool?
You know what? I guess I'm classic old school EOS implementer, and that I believe the accountability chart is really the most powerful tool in the toolbox. And so I really respect what the accountability chart brings to the table. The interesting thing, however, is that EOS, like every system, allows you to start anywhere as long as you go everywhere. It's sort of like doing the dishes. Okay. Where would you like to start doing the dishes from? Some people like to start with the cutlery. Okay. And some people like to start with the big plates or maybe the pots and pans. And my answer to that would be whatever works for you. Okay. Because at the end of the day, as long as everything is nice and clean and stacked, then you've done the dishes. Okay. And EOS is exactly the same way. We as implementers, we have our preferred way of teaching EOS and where we think people should start, engaging with and whatever. But I don't really care. If people want to do the level 2 meeting and think, okay, well, we've done level 2 meetings, it's not getting the results we want. Maybe we should, try to do the accountability chart now. It's like, great, go for it. I think it's really fantastic. If I was to pick out one tool that I really liked, that I really think can make a big difference in an entrepreneurial business owner's mind and life, I would say to pick up the Delegate and Elevate tool. Delegate and Elevate is really about a way of examining your life and doing it in a consistent manner. I would actually connect it with another tool that we teach, which is the Clarity Brick. But let's stick with the Delegate and Elevate for a second. Delegate and Elevate is really looking at your life and seeing, where your energy is flowing, right? If you find yourself really inspired and excited about looking at the production line and helping make changes and getting people motivated for great work every day on the production line, but sales and marketing just leaves you confused and exhausted, I would say there's a message there. There's a message that maybe, you shouldn't be spending that much time in sales and marketing. Maybe you can get somebody who can do that better than you and who actually loves it, right? So for folks who are looking at EOS for the first time or thinking about what they want from their business, the question I always ask is, what do you really love? What do you really love doing? And they say, oh, I really love talking with clients and helping them with their issues. I'm like, that sounds great. So sales, is that what you really like to do? And they're like, oh, I just love doing sales. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you not like doing? Like, man, I hate doing payroll. Like, God, I hate doing payroll. Payroll is just such a drag. Why do I have to spend my time doing payroll? I'm like, okay, well, there's a hint there, right? There's a hint. And Delegate and Elevate as a tool really, drives your thinking along those lines. What do I need to take off my plate? Do I need to find somebody who can do this better than me? Right. So, I would recommend, if you don't know EOS yet and you just want to start with something easy, maybe Delegate and Elevate would be a good place to go.
And I think it's interesting too, because, the tool can be used both personally and professionally. I've done it with both. I've done it with my stuff in my personal life and in my professional life, and deciding where I should spend my energy, where I'll get the most bang for buck. But we forget that some of the things that we really hate, other people absolutely adore. And I look at my husband and I, right? And I mean, he's an actuary and he just loves numbers and statistics and delving deep into stuff. And I hate it. And with a passion, there's nothing I can think of worse. And so just because you don't like something doesn't mean there won't be somebody out there who, for them, that is their dream. That is their unique ability. It's their God-given talent. It's what they love to do. And so you really need to allow other people to be doing what they love too in your business, not just you.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the show, right? The accountability chart really gets to this point because we use GWC as our fit to the seat, right? That's our criteria: gets it, wants it, capacity to do it. If you really have everybody in your business, right people aligned with your core values, GWC fit to the seat, you're just going to release all of this amazing energy. It's all these people love what they do. They come to work excited about doing their job. And, you just kind of get out of their way. Like, hey, let me know if you guys need anything, just let me know.
But I think the accountability chart is one of the things that I think most people who are potentially kind of self-implementing or dabbling a wee bit in EOS, it's the one that they avoid, because in actual fact, it does force you to really think about what is important, and you have to remove the people from it, which is the most difficult part to start off with, right? Is sort of to take a step back and go, I know we've got some great Marys and some great Garys and whatnot, but at the end of the day, this is the structure we actually really need. And they may not be the people that fit those roles.
Well, again, this is something that it requires us, well, as EOS implementers and as human beings, to be compassionate, right? We want to just say the answer, which is get rid of these people who don't fit your accountability chart. But come on, what are we really talking about here? We're talking about people's lives. And in some cases, people have made commitments to work together for years and years. And in family businesses, the commitment may be far greater, which is, hey, you're married to them, or, they're your children or your parents or whatever that may be. And you can't just say, hey, Dad, it's been really good, but I don't think you really you don't fit the seat and we need to move you on. Okay. I mean, these are huge, very fraught situations. And for us as EOS implementers, we need to start with compassion, right? Start with the empathy of sitting, placing ourselves in our client's shoes and saying, what is appropriate now? What is appropriate for us to bring to the table and discuss? We want our clients to move out of their comfort zone to a certain extent, but not into the abyss. Okay. We need this. Okay. What is the incremental step that's going to, jog the next evolution, jog the next wave of growth? And yeah, it's tough. We're going to ask them to move out of that comfort zone. And again, it just has to be incremental.
So, yeah, I mean, there's huge value in taking that time to slow down and taking that time. It's like you need to slow down in order to go faster sometimes in business and in life, right? And that's what the clarity break does, is it actually makes you think, okay, what could we be doing differently that would actually help to speed things up in the future, which is important. An hour and a half every day of meditation. For a lot of people, they go, but I don't have the time to do that. What would you say to them?
Very interesting. Well, the classic Buddhist saying is that if you're feeling overwhelmed, then you should probably spend 15 minutes a day meditating. And if you're feeling really overwhelmed, then you should probably spend an hour a day meditating. So it's different for everybody. And, I'm not perfect. I don't do my yoga practice every day. That's not the point. The point is that making sure that you get a regular practice of reconnecting and recentering with yourself, making sure that you understand where you need to be going as an individual, as a human being, in my case, as a father, as a husband. My journey requires that I stay on the track that makes sense to me, that provides me with the life that I want to live. And it doesn't have to be yoga or meditation. I mean, that's just what I use, but there's other ways to do this. There's walking in nature. There's listening to music. There's many different ways of centering yourself and getting back to the energy that makes sense. I really think about it as, what is the pace that makes sense for me in my life? When I wake up in the day and I want to create the day that I want to live, if I work with people who are not my energy level, who are way different from me or too fast or too jagged, I don't know another way to explain this, right? But it's not the energy that makes sense to me. I'm looking for energy that I can accept into my body and my heart, and it makes me better. It makes me more complete. It helps me grow as a human being. My clients teach me tons and tons every single day that I work with them. I think you would agree.
Oh, yes.
But there has to be a receptiveness to the energy that you get from the people around. Okay. And if you're not really feeling that, if you feel exhausted at the end of your day, if you dread the concept of going to work because you got to deal with these issues and these people, then maybe you need to think about what you need to change. What do you need to edit? What needs to become different for you in order for you to live the life that makes the most sense for you? I don't prescribe yoga unless you feel that yoga is the right thing for you.
And I think that's the important thing. I think that I remember for many, many years, I thought I couldn't do meditation because I had this vision in my mind and this idea of what meditation had to look like, and it didn't work for me, and I couldn't do it. And what I actually realized was that my way to meditate is actually about going out into nature, away from technology, away from all that, and just being, just observing what's going on in nature. And that's a different, it's not, it doesn't have to be lying down at the end of a yoga class and imagining that you're in the middle of a forest by a lake, whatever it might be. That's what I always struggle with. I could never have that imagination. So it's horses for courses, but it is about being able to remove yourself from the busyness of the day to day and how you can get that time to recenter.
Yeah, that's really what it is. I say an aspiration. I do an aspiration every day in my life. And I say, I am physically strong and spiritually centered. And when I say that, right, there's two pieces to that, right? One is the affirmation piece, which is that I will become this way because this is what I want. But the other thing is a confirmation, which is I am this way because this is how I live my life. And it is affirming the choices that I have made, and it's presupposing the choices I will make. I think those are very important things to do, and it's other than that, you just become reactive. You're just accepting the energy that other people give you in your life. And some of that can be very positive, but you know what? I think that you have to have inside of your heart a yes. Now, this is me, and this is what's good for me. And if you don't listen to your heart, at some level, at some frequency in your life, then you're just not going to know what you want.
Completely agree. Okay, hey, we could probably talk all day, but sadly we're sort of running out of time. So there's a couple of things I wanted to ask you. The first thing was, if an entrepreneur is sitting here listening to this and sort of saying, yeah, I feel like I might need some help, what are the typical signs that they would have that would give them an indication of, yep, I should be talking to Karl about EOS? Or, yeah, what would be the things that would be the signs I should be looking for?
Well, I think there's two different approaches to that. One is if you're feeling really overwhelmed, please get some help. Period. Just get some help. Maybe you don't need a business coach. Maybe you need a therapist. Okay.
Indeed.
But that whole concept of being overwhelmed, come on. There's so many resources available. This is something that you can actually go and get some help with. Please go get some help. That's number one. The second is if it's really about your business and you really, you have your goals, you're a business leader that wants to go somewhere, you've got a vision, but you're just not getting, forward progress on your vision, then, an EOS implementer can really help. An EOS implementer is there. We're the people who actually know how to get from that point A to the point B of you having more control of your business and actually on the path to achieving your business. So, there's many different services out there and different kinds of consulting and different kinds of business coaching that you can get. What we're offering very specifically is the journey of the entrepreneur from overwhelm to control. And inside of this control, this articulation of their vision in a way that their team can participate. We're really empowering, business owners and entrepreneurs to get to that next level in their lives and with their businesses. And that's, it's the overwhelm piece. And it's also the understanding that if you really want to create something with your business, there are professionals who can help. EOS is really about that. Not the only resource out there. Let's be honest. There's many other resources, but that's something that we definitely, I for one, have dedicated my life to helping entrepreneurs achieve that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. That's fantastic. And you obviously, you're in your session room right now. So you have a session room in Japan,
Yeah, and Tokyo.
and that's where your clients come to visit you. Yeah.
Yep, a few exceptions. I do travel a little bit for my clients, but I want them to come here because this is a space that's been designed very specifically. I brought in an architect to create a great meeting space and to help people get out of that chaos of their daily business to a place where they can be contemplative, where they can work together as a leadership team with no interruptions and the best possible environment.
Perfect. And if they wanted to get hold of you, how would they actually find you, Karl?
Yeah, just Google search EOS Karl Pisor. I mean, that's who I am and that's where I'm at, and all of that information is available. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just searching EOS Karl Pisor Tokyo, you're going to get it every time.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, finishing up, just 3 kind of top tips or tools. So somebody's listening to this right here, right now and going, yep, this all sounds fantastic, but where do I start? What would you recommend to them?
Right. Honestly, I think the Delegate and Elevate tool is a great way to think about your life. And it doesn't have to do anything with EOS. Okay. It can be your personal life, it can be your professional life, whatever you want. But Delegate and Elevate is about really connecting to your personal energy and really building on your personal energy by editing out the things that present a negative aspect and giving yourself more time to develop the really positive and life affirming pieces in your life. I really like that. I really like the Delegate and Elevate tool, so I'm going to recommend that. In business, if you're running your company and you want to get great results, please, 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 please think about the accountability chart. This is a core EOS tool that can really help. And if I was going to squeeze one more tool into the game, I would say, look at your scorecard. This has been a real focus for me as an EOS implementer for the past year or so. And the key insight for me with the scorecard is managing your business by the week, looking at your business and seeing what needs to happen every single week. We can't get perfect results every single week. No business is perfectly smooth in terms of results, but a business can be perfectly smooth in terms of attitude, intention, and behavior. And when you get people who are consistent in attitude, attention, and behavior, and you're tracking this on a weekly scorecard, I bet I'm going to put my last dollar down that you're going to get great results from what you're doing. And that is what scorecards need to be. So I would say those 3 pieces: Delegate and Elevate, accountability chart, and weekly great scorecard. What's a great week for your business? Go out and make it and do it every single week. Boy, you're going to get really excellent results from your business and maybe a little bit less stress. So that's where I'm going to wrap up.
Fantastic. Hey, look, Karl, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and sharing with us some of the EOS tools. Really appreciate it. Great to see you in your home space there and to see you sort of enjoying so much what you do. It's obvious that you get a great pleasure out of what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really hope that these words and these messages go out to other folks that may be looking for something in their lives. It's a great pleasure to serve all of my amazing clients.
Thank you very much.